Reina Montoya was only 13 years old when she was brought to the United States illegally by her parents. But despite her undocumented status, Montoya has thrived in this nation since moving to Mesa, Arizona. After graduating from high school with honors, she earned 2 bachelor's degrees, a master's degree, and taught at a high school for 2 years.
And I started meeting a lot of my students that had very similar challenges that I did, that had to deal with their mental health issues regarding immigration, uncertainty, and anxiety. So I took a leap of faith, and that's when I decided to found Aliento, and I've been the CEO and founder at Aliento for the past 4 years.
Perder todo lo que has construido, ser separado de tus seres queridos.
Aliento works with other so-called dreamers in this country. Like Montoya, they arrived here as children and grew up undocumented but called this nation home. In 2012, by executive action, President Obama created a program called DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. It allows the dreamers who apply and qualify to stay in the United States without the fear of deportation, permitting them to go to school and find employment. President Trump wanted to do away with DACA, but the U.S. Supreme Court ruled 5-4 that the program can remain, at least for now.
I remember when I was reading exactly from the Supreme Court blog, like my hands started trembling and they started sweating. My heart was racing really fast. So I couldn't really believe what had happened because if I'm very candid, I didn't think that it was going to be a positive reaction for DACA recipients.
But it is bittersweet, she says. Justices say the current administration was, quote, arbitrary and capricious in the way it tried to undo DACA, but points out that the president does have the authority to rescind the program. Trump has vowed to try it again, and if the administration follows the proper channels next time, it could be successful. That's disconcerting for Montoya and thousands of other younger dreamers.
There's 7,000 here in the state of Arizona that could have qualified for DACA specifically, and they met all the criteria, but they were too young to apply. Back in September 2017, when President Trump ended the program. So that is one of the things that prevented them to apply.
17-year-old Phoenix resident Darian Benitez Sanchez is in that group. He had hoped to apply soon, but now his prospects are up in the air.
But it has been a long stretch since 2007 to now. We're stuck in this in-between of fear and hope all the time. I'm a senior now, and applying for college is going to be difficult. Getting some sort of, here in Arizona, in-state tuition for like a school such as ASU, or it's not possible. So it forces me to look outward, leave my family.
And the future remains uncertain. Dreamers say U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, the federal agency which is supposed to provide guidelines for DACA, is not helping. Here is part of a statement from USCIS after the Supreme Court ruling. Quote, DACA was created through an executive branch memorandum after President Obama said repeatedly that it was illegal for him to do so unilaterally. The constitutionality of this de facto amnesty program created by the Obama administration has been widely questioned since its inception. Ultimately, DACA is not a long-term solution for anyone, and if Congress wants to provide a permanent solution for these illegal aliens, it needs to step in to reform our immigration laws.
We've been calling lawyers to make sure we have any documentation ready. We're in this limbo. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going to happen, but we want to make sure we're prepared.
I have personally spoken to 6 different attorneys, and out of all of that, it's very diverse, the opinion that they give.
In another unrelated case, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 does apply to gay, lesbian, and transgender employees in most cases. That means they are protected from being fired due to their sexual orientation or gender identity. Equal Rights Arizona and Southern Arizona Senior Pride work on behalf of this community.
This is an incredible victory because, well, it says that our nation it's a shifting. I feel like it's more important than marriage equality. You know, marriage equality, we have said you can get married on a Friday and get fired on a Monday. So that is one thing that changes with the Supreme Court ruling.
It really is a monumental win for our community, but as always, we need to remain vigilant.
Like Dreamers and their supporters, both groups say there was immediate cause for celebration when the Supreme Court ruled in their favor, But more work, they explain, is necessary.
The Equality Act was not passed. And we don't know yet if this Supreme Court ruling will be inclusive of housing, the military, medical care.
My hope is that as we continue to grow as a society, that it won't be only the laws that will change, but it will be the way that human beings interact with one another and seek to understand one another. Because that's really where discrimination takes place, is in human hearts. And so hopefully that change of heart will follow the change of law.